Hey everyone, welcome back. Hopefully today, for no particular reason, we want to talk about the subject of you've already decided you're going to leave the U.S. So what now?
Or are you planning to leave the U.S. and the pros and cons of moving abroad?
Right. So first, how do we go about leaving the U.S.? For us, it was first realizing that we would or wouldn't have a budget to be able to do that. And then we had to find a country to fit that budget. For us, that ended up being Ecuador. For you, it could be, wherever you decide you want to go, but you obviously have to base that on some type of budget.
Yes.
So whether you are going to, work or you have some kind of residual income or some kind of permanent income, that will usually be the number one deciding factor in where you decide to move. So you have to do a lot of research into the cost of living in certain areas and, the type of currency that's used and what you're going to lose in exchange. All those things go into determining a budget.
Yes.
For us, we were able to do that, and that's what led us to Ecuador. So that's the next step. You find a country.
Right. And when you look for those countries, you want to see what the minimum income or what the income requirement is for that country. Because if your income does not match like what the monthly is, because I think some places are $3,000, some places are $1,500, and you want to make sure your income matches that requirement.
Right. For the visa.
For the visa.
Yeah. So that's the next step, obviously. Once you've decided and you know that you qualify, then you apply for a visa. That's what we did. We got our visa. In our particular situation, we were selling our home, so we couldn't leave until we got our visa. We couldn't plan our actual move until we got our visa because we had to sell our house. So keep that in mind if that's something you're going to be doing. Obviously, selling your home, if you have one, is a big decision that you don't want to take lightly because you may be able to make more money, renting your property out. For us, we weren't interested in being landlords from another country, and we weren't interested in paying a
management company.
Yeah, a management company. So we just decided to sell it. It was just the easier option for us, along with the vast majority of our belongings. We understand that some folks are very attached to their belongings and may want to keep them in some kind of storage or even bring them with them to the country that they're coming to. But that may be another obstacle that you have to look at when it comes to transporting a lot of stuff from one country to another. It may cost you a lot of money.
Right. Not only that, if you're not looking to get a visa, like for instance, if you want to come to Ecuador, you can be in Ecuador on a 90-day visa, and you can do an extended one for another 90 days. And maybe you want to just spend 6 months in one country and go to another country if they give you the same amount of time where you can be 6 months in that country. So you can be a digital nomad.
Yeah, or a regular nomad.
Or a regular nomad and move from one country to the next if that's something you choose to do.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to get a temporary visa if you don't plan on staying in that country for a long time.
Right. Because here your tourist visa is good for 90 days and you can renew it for another 90 days.
Yes.
Some countries, I don't know if,
I
couldn't tell you, how many countries actually do that. So that will obviously be part of your research.
Yeah.
Definitely do a scouting trip. That's another thing we did we did a scouting trip
exactly
to Ecuador. That is
the
by
most
far
important,
the most important thing
you should do. Do not go off of other people's opinion about the country. Now you can ask,
of course,
for how they how do they like it and the pros and cons of from their perspective. But you want to come and visit to make sure it fits your needs.
Right, because it could be everything you don't like.
Yes.
Or everything you love. And the other person that you spoke to hates it, Everyone is different. So, of course, that leads us to pros and cons. What are the pros of making that move? For us, cost of living was a big one. The cost of living here, where we live in Ecuador, is much less expensive than it is in the United States. And considering that we retired early, that's what we needed. We needed a lower cost of living. That is a major, major pro for us.
Yes, and then you want to also learn about the culture that you're moving to. That's a pro because for us it was a pro because it's something new, and of course there's a language barrier, but we're willing to learn, adapt, and
at no point in my adult life did I assume that I would have to learn another language.
No.
And in my 40s, my late 40s, I need to learn another language, and I really should have done it sooner.
And also another pro is the weather. For us, Ecuador met the standard or the requirement or the need that we wanted.
Nice weather.
Nice weather. We started off in Salinas, and Salinas was very nice. The weather was very warm. I won't say very warm, but it was.
Sometimes it could be hot.
Yeah.
But a lot of the year it was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. Yeah. And now we're in Cuenca. Cuenca is cooler, but it's still great weather to us.
No hurricanes. You got to deal with earthquakes and maybe mudslides, stuff like that. But no hurricanes. So that's a bonus. Another bonus for us, a pro, was the food. Learning all these new foods.
Oh, and still learning.
Like we learned about colada morada. This past holiday weekend. We've been here more than 2.5 years in Ecuador, and had never heard of that drink until this weekend. So. Food, that's just a great thing for us. Of course, the not having the rat race, because if you're moving to another country and you're not working, then that's just a major stressor, most likely eliminated from your life, and that's always a good thing. Less bad stress is always good.
Meeting new people.
Yeah,
meeting new people when you move to another country. If you're a people person. There's always gatherings, events that you can just get out and meet new people.
Yeah. Pretty much most places that an expat will go has other expats, most. So there's a good chance you may be able to use them as a resource. If you're like us, you kind of like to yourself or whatever, find certain people that you can talk to and get some of the information to get you started. Because what happens is it's like a snowball. Once you start learning a few things, you then start figuring out how to do those things yourself so that you don't have to rely on other people. Not to say that you can't.
And, other people may be busy, so you have to respect their time and everything. So for us, we do reach out. We do have friends that are very resourceful, but we also try to venture out and learn our way around without having to, use their time.
Yeah. New projects. I've always wanted chickens. The house we live in right now, I didn't want to put chickens here because
it would be too messy.
That would be a mess.
Yeah, too messy.
But I did get quail, which are like little chickens, and that is going pretty good. They're producing like 3 or 4 eggs a day for me. I only have 3 hens, so that's great. And just doing that thing is something new, and that's really exciting.
Yeah. So another pro is when he's talking about. Projects, just think about when you're working, like I was working. When you're working, you have so many projects you want to do, but you're unable to because you don't have a lot of time. Yeah. When you decide to retire early and not work online or do anything, you just want to, do things you want to do, you can do those projects. You can start new projects, or you can complete other projects that you were working on. Yeah. And so it's great.
There's nothing stopping.
Nothing stopping.
Except for money. It depends on what your hobby is.
Or yourself. Yeah. If you don't want to do any projects, you don't have to do any projects. Right. You can sit around and just twiddle your thumb if you like.
Cons and the pros and cons. Of course, leaving your family behind. Now, I understand there are people out there who will gladly do that. But not everybody. So, of course, that can be an issue for a lot of folks. Of course, we miss our kids, our family, our grandkids. But that was one of those things where you're going to make a sacrifice somewhere, and chances are, your family's going to be one of those.
Now, another con is don't leave because of what's happening in the U.S. If you haven't planned to leave before, don't jump ship and just go anywhere thinking that, oh, I'm not going to have issues, because every place has its own issues.
Right. And that leads to adapting to a new place, because you're leaving a situation that you feel like is just not
unstable,
right for you. So you come to another situation, and it may not be what you're looking for.
No.
Adapting here in Ecuador, it is a con for us. It hasn't been that much of a con, because we actually enjoy learning all this. Yeah, we're getting frustrated sometimes, with the language barrier and stuff like that. But we've learned so much that, like, when we learn something new, it's almost like, hey, we just learned something new. Like, we're more Ecuadorian now,
But it's a challenge, and we're willing to accept that challenge, and we take our little, what do you call it? The little achievements.
All the little victories,
Yeah, our little victories, and we're like, oh, one step closer.
Yeah, one step closer.
So and of course, we're not just saying you have to choose Ecuador. We're just speaking on our experience, because this is where we chose to live. Now, Ecuador has its own issues, and like Steve would say, we learn, we take everything in stride. And so right now we're experiencing power outages, because Ecuador has been going through a drought.
Yeah, all of South America really been going through a drought.
Right. And you have to be patient and understand that it's, we can't make it rain.
Yeah.
And when you do get rain, you're thankful for the rain. You learn to be thankful for a lot of things that we take for granted. And we know how life throws these obstacles, snowballs at you. Is how you look at it and your perspective on things. And you learn to
adapt. Our philosophy is that we don't have the right to really complain. Like, we can be frustrated by something or inconvenience, but we don't really have the right to complain, because we're not from this country. We can leave anytime.
Yes.
There are people here who've been here their entire lives, have to work, live here, pay bills, take care of families, and they're out of power for hours a day. We feel for those people. So, yeah, we don't feel like we have the right to complain. We understand that the government caused some of this issue too, but as far as us just adapting to it, we don't have an option. It's not going to make us leave. We know it's going to eventually rain again. So, just something you got to deal with.
And we find other things to do. We're around each other 24 hours a day. However, we can also take walks. We can also play games. We can talk about things that's happening, or he can be whatever he does.
I can watch YouTube for hours.
Either out there working with his quills, I'm working with my garden, crocheting, whatever. Yeah. I can find something to do when the power is out. Right.
But once again, it's because we don't have to do anything.
No.
So like that's a privilege that we have that we don't take for granted.
Right. And if you're going to work abroad, these are the things you need to think about. And you can go to some Facebook groups to ask what's going on, in case you may need to bring a charger or a power
battery backup.
Battery backup to help you get through the day, the hours that you don't have power.
Because they have been becoming much harder to find here. People are buying them up.
Yeah. So those are some of the things you have to think about when you're going to decide to move abroad. You need to see what's going on there before you get there, and you need to see if it's going to meet your needs, requirements for what you're going to be doing in that country.
Yeah, and not just needs and requirements, but like expectations. Some people's expectations are higher than the place that they're going. And that leads us to like another comment, just like limited access. So depending on where you go, let's say you decide to move to like Panama, right? if you're near Panama City, you've got everything. You're really not lacking for any access to any kind of shopping, stuff like that. Maybe housing, but, not really shopping, anything like that. When we were in Salinas in Ecuador, we were a little limited because there were only 2 major shopping areas or 2 major shopping centers, and there was a big shopping area in Centro. It made it so it was limited. Like we had to scatter like things that we needed. So we might have to go here for one thing and then go to this place in Centro for something else and then go to Supermax for something else and then go to a Mercado. Everything was kind of spread out. And if that's not something that you're able to adapt to or used to, it can be annoying. We kind of figured that out pretty fast in Salinas. It didn't really annoy us. It just made it more worth it when we were able to like go somewhere and shop.
We knew what we had to get and we got it and we came back.
There was no mindless shopping. That's what I want to say. Yeah, like it was we went somewhere that had what we needed. We were very purposeful. We knew what we wanted and that's what we did.
Yeah. Which leads into living accommodations. When you move abroad, what you're used to in the U.S., it may not be offered or you may not have access to when you go to another country because just things are different. Yeah. Because some places don't have hot water. Some places have hot water. Yeah. Some places...
can't flush toilet paper. Some you can.
You can't drink the water.
Some places you can.
You may... have air conditioning, and you may not.
Yeah.
You may have heat.
You probably won't have heat. Yeah. Well, I take that back. It depends on where you're going.
Where you are, and then what type of heat you may have.
If you're in Central South America, there's a good chance you ain't got no heat.
But it's just, these are the things you need to consider when you're moving abroad.
Now, lastly, our tips. I think we pretty much went through them when we were going through the list. But I would say my number 1 tip is be adaptable. It's not going to be just like home, like the States.
No.
And we've been to quite a few places. I ain't gonna say we've been to a lot of places, but we've been to quite a few places around the world. And there are similarities and then there are major differences. Mm-hmm. And if you're not willing to adapt to the place that you're moving, you're gonna have a harder time. Mm-hmm. Even if the thing that you don't agree with seems silly and like why do they do it like this?
It's because they do it like this. It's
because they've been doing it like this. Right. And you
are the outsider.
Average Joe expat ain't gonna change it.
Right. And don't try to force it.
Yeah.
Because it obviously has been working for them, even though you may feel that it could be done better or differently.
Even if it's not working, it's still going to do it. You're not going to change it. It's just the point.
Just be adaptable.
Yeah.
It's no sweat off your back. And when they say mañana can be tomorrow, mañana can be next week. It's mañana.
Yeah. Yeah.
And learn to just...
And we're not telling you just like let everything brush off. If someone's rude or something to you, that's different.
We're saying relax.
Yeah, just chill out.
Relax.
Chill out.
You will extend your life much longer if you just relax. Woosah.
Yeah, that's my number 1 tip. If I would say visit, there's another tip I would give is prepare.
Research.
Yeah.
Research. Now, you can go to groups and ask your questions, and I'm not saying these groups are not helpful, but you have to have a clear understanding that some people are going to give you the worst, some people are going to give you the beautiful roses and whatnot, and you need to see in between all of that.
Right. And somebody who's giving you the worst will disguise it by saying, well, I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, but what are the other truths? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand there's bad things. Tell me the truth about some of the good stuff too. Like, don't selectively leave the good stuff out because you don't like the bad stuff.
Right. Because, even here, we have power outages, but the good things is things are still going on and people are living every day with what's going on and we can too.
They've been forced to adapt and life still goes on.
Yeah.
People aren't walking around. I mean, maybe there's some anxiety. Maybe some people have some,
Oh, yeah.
it causes mental
Right.
problems, I'm sure. But, we haven't seen that directed at us in any kind of anger,
Right. Because I know, like, when the power's out, you're worrying about food spoiling.
Right.
You're worrying about, okay, if you don't have your phone, did you charge it? Are you out? I can't charge my phone, so I don't have a clock to go off to wake me up to get up to go to work. Right. All these things play a part, but we got to manage.
Yeah. Prime example, we were at a restaurant today and the power went out. And it was getting dark. So the server came over with 2 candles.
And made it a candlelight dinner.
Made it a candlelight dinner. Like, it was cool.
Yeah.
I guess, that might upset some people and, make them want to, like, leave. But, we were already halfway through our food when it happened. And it was good.
It was nice.
And the restaurant was cool.
Yeah.
So.
I had no reason to get mad. I was full. I was happy. And they accommodated with candles. Yeah. Because what else can you do?
Nothing. Nothing.
So. And to be honest with you, I prefer the candle versus the generator because the generator is loud and then I smell the fumes from the gas.
Yeah, depending on where they have it, yeah.
And so it was very nice. I can't ask for more. Yeah. It was, it is what it is. Yeah. What is it? Low K is? Low K?
Right, look, don't get me started. Don't have me answering comments about my bad Spanish.
Well,
please.
It is what it is, whatever that is in Spanish. Low K is.
It's low K is? Something
like that. I mean, other than adapt, research,
prepare,
and don't leave because of fear. Don't leave because you're the anxiety. Like he's talking about the anxiety. Think it through. Make sure you have a plan.
Don't make a rash decision.
Don't make a rash decision. Have a plan. Think it through, and make sure you visit wherever you plan on going to make sure it meets your needs and it works for you.
Yeah. So
hopefully
this helps someone.
Yeah.
At least one person. That's all we want to do. We want to help at least one person. And if we did, send us a message, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Check out our merch store. We try to make as much useful content as possible.
Right. And we try to keep it as real as possible, as authentic, because, we all know we're all going through stuff and we want the best for ourselves and we want the best for you and we want you to make a conscious, fair decision. If you decide to leave, make sure you have a plan.
Yeah. So, once again, thank you for watching.
Yes.
We will be back soon.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.